So it shouldn't come as a surprise that I am a pretty huge Grey's Anatomy fan, and because of that, I have rewatched the shows many times, and each time I watch it, I feel like I'm rewatching it for the very first time, or just finding new things to be excited about throughout the series. But even so, there are many unenjoyable parts of the show, mostly the characters. Some characters are just extremely unlikable, or the writers try to make them more likable even though their actions kind of speak for themselves. One of these characters is Derek Shepherd. I believe he embodies the popular saying of gaslight, gatekeep, and girl boss. Um, and for the most part, these reasons make him very unlikable. The first one being gaslight. Throughout the first season and many other seasons, he is almost constantly gaslighting Meredith into this relationship. And during the first season, they meet and have a one night stand. And the next day, Meredith actually finds out that he is her new boss. With that, she tells him that she does not want to be in this relationship because he is her boss, which is totally understandable. And that balance is very off. And even though her saying this, he continues to pursue her even after she says it's harassment, and even uses his authority in the hospital to get closer to her, which is honestly pretty uncomfortable to watch in some scenes. Even so, he eventually breaks Meredith down into wanting a relationship with him, which is then when we find out that he actually has a wife. Now, they're kind of on the rocks, so you would think if he wants to pursue a relationship with Meredith, he'd divorce her and it'd be fine. Well, that's not what happens. He ends up choosing his wife over Meredith, which is okay, but then he still pursues Meredith even while trying to fix his marriage, which sends Meredith a ton of mixed signals about this relationship, which is continuing the gaslighting from before. But we do get the iconic line of pick me, choose me, love me from Meredith, and it's something I'll never forget, quite honestly. Um, Even so, after he finally does get a divorce from his wife, later on in seasons, it continues. One example being he cheats on Meredith, then blames her for him cheating, um, which is just honestly quite terrible because she did nothing wrong other than telling him that she wanted him to be around more, um, which is why he cheated. And he blames her for that. I don't get it either. Well, my second topic is gatekeep. While Derek is a great surgeon, which I'll talk about later, he does have quite a huge ego because of it. And that ego tends to get in the way of patient care many times throughout the series. Whether he thinks that his job is more important than the other surgeon's job, or he just doesn't quite care for their feelings and believes surgery is the only way to get this patient better care, which isn't always the case. And because of that, he actually has lost quite a few patients because of his ego or his emotional stance in the hospital. He gets into fights a lot, or not quite fights, but arguments a lot with other surgeons. And those arguments tend to bleed into his work. And there's been a lot of times where he's let that affect his judgment while working with a patient, which has also created a few conflicts with patient care. He also gatekeeps his sister when his tries to come and work there. He babies her, even though she's just as good as a surgeon as he is, and lets their relationship get in the way of helping real patients that, frankly, are struggling. Lastly is girl boss. Well, I've talked a lot about why Derek Shepherd is a terrible person. He is a actually great surgeon. He takes on impossible cases that many other surgeons have turned down because the illness is terminal and there is no way to save them without killing them. And while most of the time this is true, a lot of these surgeries do not work out the way that they want them to. There are a great many cases that actually turn out to be good, and the patient survives even when everyone else said that they were going to die. And because of that, he is a quite good surgeon, and he has won many awards for his surgeries. So in conclusion, while Derek Shepherd is manipulative, egotistical, he is also a very good surgeon and embodies the popular saying of gaslight, gatekeep, and girl boss. Thank you.